Welcome to Get Ben Riding, and today this is the Ride Around section of my YouTube channel that you're on, and today we are on the commuting run. And every time I commute I use a different bike, and we usually talk about something different, and today I'm talking about the E-Clutch system on Honda CBR650R. So let's jump straight into it, shall we? It is an unusually sunny day today. It is the beginning of December and it has rained pretty much incessantly since the start of the year. Just need my microphone out of my face. So Honda's CBR650R E-Clutch. So the CBR650R, it's been around since 2019. It's not a new bike. There's been a couple of variations of it, this being the most recent, right up into 2026 actually. It's been powered by the same 650 inline 4 engine. It's a peach of an engine, if I'm honest. It'd help if I had the key in my hand. It's a really good engine, really creamy, smooth power delivery. Bike makes 90 odd horsepower, and if you look at the competitors for this bike, you have Aprilia RS660, Yamaha's R7, you got the Suzuki GSX-8R, and the newcomer I suppose is CF Moto's 675SR. That's a good bike. They're all very similar in terms of power, and they're aimed at this middle market. I'm going to be quite careful as I move off, just because I'm parked on loads of shit, stupidly. And yeah, so those are the competitors. In terms of price point, this bike's just under 9 grand, which is competitive with all the Japanese bikes. The CF Moto is quite a bit cheaper, but what I would say is that it is a very good bike, but just obviously the price point's very attractive, but the dealer network is still a little bit unstable. So in terms of price point, this bike's bang on. Very competitive with the others. Obviously there'll be deals and stuff like that, but yeah, generally really good. I think this bike's aimed at, or both this and the naked version are aimed at people who are looking for something that they can use every day, but that looks the part, you know. Looks very much like the 2017 Honda Fireblade. It's quite a pretty bike, as you'll see from the steel shots. It's always been a really smooth, great bike, and it obviously A2 restrictable for new riders as well, so that's a big bonus. And yeah, it's just been a good all-round bike, really. You know, I know there's plenty of reviews out there telling you all about this, but the reason I chose this is because Honda announced at EICMA that they were going to be releasing the E-Clutch on a few more of their models, and I think there's quite a bit of there's quite a bit of misinformation about what the E-Clutch is and what it does. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm very old school when it comes to riding motorbikes. I just like a normal manual bike. I quite like the Quickshifter. I'm not really bothered about all the other electronics and stuff. It's not really my bag. I get it with a 200 horsepower motorbike now. You know, you need it to keep the bike in check, and on a day like today, having a few electronics doesn't hurt. But on the whole, I'm quite a purist. So when I first, bloody hell, what's that? Is that a pheasant? Yeah. When I first got onto this bike, you know, I was a little bit sceptical. I don't mind admitting. I don't think I really fully understood the technology. So it's cold today. Let's get into that technology, shall we? So it is just a normal CBR650R. They come with the E-Clutch as standard now, so it's not an option. When it was an option, it would cost you a couple of £100 more. So it's not really affected the price per se. The E-Clutch, effectively, in lay terms, as best I could describe it to you, is an automatic clutch. Oh bloody hell, look at that rain over there. I don't want to be going over there. It's an automatic clutch, so the clutch has an actuator in it. It's a very clever system, and it automatically operates the clutch for you at any speed and in any gear. What happens when you change gear, I hear you say? Well, when you change gear, you have a quickshifter. For those of you who don't know what a quickshifter is, a quickshifter on any other bike, clutched or otherwise, allows you to change gear predominantly up without using the clutch, without rolling off the throttle. And why is that a benefit? Well, from a racing perspective, it's a benefit because you're not rolling off the gas, you're not losing temps. From a road perspective, it sounds cool. It helps with acceleration and stability. And I suppose in a way it perfects your gear changes. And when they first came out, they were a little bit archaic and didn't really work, a bit clunky. Now they're pretty well refined, and what they do is they momentarily retard the ignition on the bike just so that the revs match, kind of like if you're clutchless shifting, you know, if you just roll off the throttle, and you know, people have been doing that for years. So that's what a quick shifter is. It works the other way too. So the quick shifters came first, the downshifter came next. Don't you do it. The downshifter effectively blips the throttle in the same way as you would, a racer would, anyone would, as they're downshifting for a smoother change, so that the flywheel and the clutch speed match. Allows the gearbox to sync just that little bit easier. It blips the throttle for you, and it allows you to change down without using the clutch. Now, you wouldn't be able to do that on a conventional gearbox. So that's what a quick shifter does. So in order to give you completely clutchless shifting without an automatic gearbox, which is what I'm doing now, you can see I'm looking down, I'm not touching the clutch, up into 6th. I actually need 5th, so I'm going to come back down into 5th. There we go, nice and smooth. It allows you to shift through the gears without using the clutch at all. Now, what the E-Clutch does is it allows you to not only do that, but it allows you to stop at a set of traffic lights, in traffic, in any gear without touching a clutch. And I am heading into Milton Keynes, where I will be able to demonstrate this for you in real world. Obviously at the moment, riding through the countryside, it's not really telling you anything. The one thing that I've noticed with the E-Clutch so far, and I've ridden it, you know, fairly extensively now on the test, is that although you still have a clutch, the first thing that you realise is that you've got to kind of unplug your brain a little bit to get into the habit of not touching the clutch. You can turn the system off completely. There's a switch in the dash. I'm not going to show you while I'm riding, otherwise I'm going to end up in the back of that van. There's a switch that turns the whole system off, and it just turns the bike into a conventional bike. You'd never know that it had the system on it at all. You use a conventional clutch, you can clutchless shift if you want. The downside of that is that it does disable the quick shifter, which is a bit of a shame, but I guess that's all part and parcel of the system. So no extra cost. Adds a quick shifter to the bike that would, if you bought it from Honda, be I imagine in excess of 600-700 quid as an accessory, and gives you clutchless shifting. And initially I was like, why have Honda invented something that no one is asking for? Because I've never heard anyone say, oh, I wish my CBR didn't have a clutch. I think the reality of the type of people that are buying this bike are going to be people that are relatively new to biking, or people who are coming down from bigger bikes, and as such perhaps less experienced, you know, maybe not as comfortable with a traditional clutch, or maybe you are experienced. I'm just going to pull in here because I just realised my bag is half undone. I've got a car right up my arse. yeah, so here's the E-clutch. I'm down at the second, down at the first, but there's no kangarooing. Coming to a complete stop. There we go, we're in first. I can let go of the brake. There's no rolling resistance. The bike doesn't feel like it wants to pull forward. I'm stopped in first. Now I can, without touching anything, shift into neutral. Okay, so let's say I'm sitting at a set of traffic lights right now. I'm in neutral. The traffic's moving off. Kill my indicator. I'm not touching the rear brake or anything like that at all. I'm going to go down into first gear. There you go. I could, if I chose to. I won't, but I could choose to go into second gear and pull away in second or third or fourth, and I could stop in sixth. You'd be a bit of a wally to do that, but you could stop in sixth and you could ride off in sixth. So what's going to happen now is, unlike a conventional scooter, with a conventional scooter you kind of get that automatic gearbox feel, you know, it's like as you pull away. This will slip the clutch, modulate the clutch for me as I pull away, mirroring almost identically how I ride. It's yeah, I've got to show you, haven't I? There's nothing coming that way. So right, so I'm not going to touch the clutch. I'm going to pull away, bit of throttle. There we go. Clutch slipped as normal. It's still slipping now. Right, it's fully engaged. Not touching the clutch. Second, third, fourth. So, and the good thing about the Quickshifter is that you can set that Quickshifter up so that it shifts aggressively or in quite a lazy way. And the reason you can do that is because if you're riding fast, you want a fast shift. You're going to be at full throttle. You want it to get through the gears quick. If you're riding around town or pootling around like I am today, you want a slower shift, and what it does is it retards the ignition for longer to smooth out the gear shift. I mean, it's not a new system, it's been around on bikes for a long time. It's really easy to set up, and it's a really clever system. So I'm down through the gears again as I approach this mini roundabout, still not touching the clutch. Gonna let this lady go across. So again, you can see it slipping the clutch. It's fully engaged now. There's no kangarooing or anything like that, because that was the one thing that, you know, I thought to myself, well, what happens if you stop in another gear? So we'll try that, we'll do that in a second. We'll stop in another gear, find somewhere to pull in, and I can smell food. No wonder I don't fit in my levers anymore. Oh, it's that place. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, they've got all the Christmas lights on. Right, so this is perfect for the E-clutch, right? Stopping first here because I'm not going to get over that junction. Actually, no one's going to let me out. Wait for old postie to go. So we're stopped in first. I've got no clutch pulled at all. I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle. So it's slipping, engaged. Honestly, it is probably smoother than most riders on the pull away. And I'm literally poodling along. I've got no throttle on, I've got no kangarooing, the bike's not bouncing. Here we go, another little bit of slip just to get us going, smooth it out. Oh, it's lovely, it's really nice. It takes all the stress out of town riding. A really nice system. I'll show you what happens if we stop in another gear in a minute. And this is a good time while all this traffic goes past to explain one downside of the E-clutch system, and I'm looking at it right now. So this is your clutch, it's on a clutch cable like you'd expect. One of the downsides is this, look, see how loose that is. That is because if you look down at the dash you can see the green A. That is telling me that the automatic clutch is engaged. Obviously these lights, you've got traction, you've got ABS. The dash is quite nice actually. It switches between night and day mode. You've got neutral, rev counter, you've got speedo, and obviously your trips and miles and stuff like that. This I'll get into later. It's to do with a Honda Road Sync app, which is quite cool actually. You get that with the bike. But anyway, because the clutch is automatically engaged, when you if you did want to just ride this without turning the system off, you can just use the clutch, but look how much you've got. It feels like the clutch is badly adjusted, and it's just because the actuator is already engaged. It's already holding the clutch off for me as if I'm holding the clutch in, and it's doing that because it doesn't know when I'm going to put it in gear. So if I was going to put it in gear, I don't know, I'd anticipate it, pull the clutch and put it in gear. The bike doesn't know that, so it's already waiting, just expecting me to put it in gear at any point. Or what's the downside of that, you ask? Well, let's put it in gear without using the clutch. Just have a little cheeky check. Loads of traffic, which is perfect for this test, to be honest. This is not about getting your knee down and all that kind of stuff, although I would quite like to be doing that as well. Naturally, no one's going to let me out. That's cool. So let's go after this one. So all the lights will go off on the dash when I pull away anyway, but the green light stays on, and that's really just to let you know that the system's engaged. If that goes out, there's most likely a fault with the system, but as yet that has not happened. So yeah, so back to the clutch, right? So there's a little bit more pressure in it now I've moved off, but it still feels like a badly adjusted clutch to me. And like I say, the reason for that is that the clutch is you know, is engaged, so effectively the bike has released the clutch lever for me, but there's still a little bit of play in there, so it's obviously sort of primed, as it were, just in case. God, the sun's really low today. Look at that. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. So the downside of that lever being the way that it is if you're riding and you suddenly decide you have the urge to use the clutch, you can, and it works perfectly fine. It's a bit disconcerting just because the lever comes almost back to the bar, and obviously that's not normal, but it is what it is. Where it becomes a pain in the arse, and I'm not going to show you this today, so I'm very sorry, it's when you want to do a wheelie. When you want to do a wheelie on this bike, the clutch just feels a little bit weird. I know it's a third world problem, and I expect a lot of you are probably going, oh, for God's sake, who's going to buy that bike to go and do wheelies? Well, people do. You know, as you progress and stuff like that. Obviously, no one's ever done a wheelie on on anything but a private back road or an airfield or a racetrack, and I wouldn't encourage anyone to, unless you've got an E-Clutch. If you've got an E-Clutch model and you're a fan of wheelies, send me some videos. I'd love to get your feedback. I'm not going to even attempt it because A, I'm not on a racetrack, and B, the roads are minging, and all that's going to happen is it's going to light up the back wheel, and I'm going to end up on my bum, and the owner of this bike is probably not going to be too happy with that, really. So that's one thing. It's not really a massive issue, it just is what it is, and you just have to get used to that. The second you turn the system off, that changes, and you get, yeah, there we go, look, see, the clutch is, the bike's pulled the clutch in, so the clutch lever's gone a bit wobbly. I think it's good that Honda have left the clutch lever on, because it creates a bit of versatility for this bike in terms of the market, because naturally there are going to be people who just don't want to use the E-Clutch, don't trust it, don't give a shit, and that's fine. Like, that's fine. If that's you just want a 650R or the CB650, go and buy one, it's fine. You're not going to have an issue with it, you don't have to use the system. But honestly, it is as intuitive as a rider. I promise you, I've been riding for 20 years and it's a really good system. Let's give it a bit of a beat. Bash it down through the gearbox. it just drops into the gears so easily. It's lovely. It's a really nice system. Can't get any lean angle, which is a bit hands. Even short shifting, it works really well. I like it. Would I buy a bike with an E-clutch? Right, well firstly, if it comes with an E-clutch and I don't have to pay any more for it, happy days. Because I know I can turn it off. If I want to go for a bit of a play with my mates, if I want to do a track day, I can turn it off, no dramas. Would I pay extra for one? No. Not for me personally. You know, I'm quite happy with a clutch, but if I was riding this or a CB650R to work every day, sweet. Yeah, I absolutely would. I'd pay a little bit extra for one because it just takes all the stress out of the riding. You're not going to get an achy clutch hand and all the rest of it. So yeah, I would. I highly recommend it. I wonder if I can get it to stall. Let's try that. Oh bloody hell, look at this. It's all flooded. There's actually swans, confused swans over there going, there went a lake here yesterday. Just sort of rain and surface water. Right, is there anything? No, there's nothing behind me. Right, so let's do the same thing again. Let's stop at the side of this road in third. Alright. Doo-ba-doo. Right, stop in third. Right, it's telling me a downshift. I ain't gonna. Oh, look at that! It pulls away in third. Do you know what? It actually pulled away in third. Probably better than I could. Wonder what it'd do in sixth. Ooh. Should I try it? I don't want to knacker the bike really, but I mean that's wicked. That's really really good. You know, like stop start. Everyone's done it. You come down through the gearbox, particularly with bikes that haven't got a gear position indicator. You come down the gearbox, stop at a set of traffic lights, go out and pull away, and you're like, shit, I'm in second. Me likey. Right, let's chuck it right here. There's nice roads out here. At this time of year, obviously you can't go banzai. You got to be a bit safe, but so that's answered that question. Right, so while we're on these nice roads, stuck behind this car, and the sun's right in my face, we've got to talk about this bike because I can't just talk about the E-clutch. I have to talk about the bike as well. So I've already said it's an inline 4, 650cc, under 100 horsepower, competes with the R7, the Daytona 660, the Aprilia RS, RS666, the 666, the GSX-8R, and the CF Moto 675 SR. There's probably another one or two that I've forgotten, but for now, that's where we'll leave that. Price wise, just under 9 grand on the road. I think 8,799 on the road. This particular bike's fitted with the racing pack, which gives you this screen. You can't really see it, but the slightly taller black screen, which looks really nice. The seat cowl, and it comes with the tank pad as well, which is a good mod. It just means that you're not going to scratch your tank with your levers or whatever. 180 rear tyre, which a lot of the bikes don't have. Proper big bike sort of feel. The engine itself, the power wise, is very very linear, like a typical Honda, really smooth, not at all intimidating. You can ride this around town and it's really easy, but it is quite a revvy engine. It revs out at 12.5 grand, and it does like to sing, this engine, and when it does, you do build momentum very quickly. It's a peach of an engine, this. It's been around for quite a while, you know, it's been in a few bikes. It's a lovely engine. Whether you're an experienced rider or a relatively new rider, you'll find it a nice one. In terms of the chassis itself, so it's got Nissin brakes, 4 pots on twin discs. I think they're 310mm. The brakes bite really well. The rear brake's quite powerful and gives good feel. I'm not really traditionally one for using the rear brake. I am today for the test, and it bites really well. The suspension is Showa adjustable, big piston, or semi-adjustable I should say. Big piston front forks and a monoshock on the rear. I'm a big lad, I'm 17 stone. With me sat on this, it's still handling really nice. It's not wallowy, it's not squatting, it's not too stiff either. The riding position is quite neutral. It's very similar to the CB650R. It's not got it's obviously got, are they clip-ons? Oh no, they're mouldings part of the top yoke, but they do sit slightly, the bar sits slightly higher than the top yokes, and what that means is, although I am, you can see by my shadow, slightly slumped over, there's absolutely no weight on my wrists at all. So I'm able to sit on this bike for ages without any issues. The seat height is 810. That's pretty much standard across nearly every bike in this class. I think there's one exception, it might be the Yamaha, slightly taller. No, the Aprilia, beg your pardon. You can lower these bikes by 30mm. So for those of us who are more vertically compact and suffer with little leg syndrome, like myself, you can have the bike lowered. But 810 is pretty good. The seat's not too wide, so because it's not too wide, it doesn't splay your legs as much, and most people will be okay. For those of us who are a little bit smaller, yeah, you can drop it 30mm, so that's going to bring you at 780. That's quite low, you know, for a bike like this. And you can do the same thing with the 650 CB650R as well. So it makes it really accessible. The CB650R, the bars are ever so slightly higher. Obviously you don't have the front fairings, you don't have wind protection, but that is the main difference between the two bikes. Other than that, they're identical in every way in terms of the tuning and the way they ride. Because they are now E-Clutch models, you get the Quickshifter as standard up and down, which is a good feature. 6-speed gearbox, E-Clutch. Tech-wise, traction control and ABS is standard. The bike, I mean, the bike it's not an aggressive engine, so the traction control, unless you're doing something really daft, you're not really gonna. Hello mate, what are you doing? Good one. You're not really going to need the traction control, but good to have anyway, I guess. You get a colour TFT dash. I'm going to say that's 5 inches, but we all know what blokes are like when it comes to inches. Until I get shit all over the road. Until I get off the bike, I won't be able to confirm that, but I believe it's a 5-inch colour TFT. The information you get is your gear position, rev, speed, a night and a day mode, so it doesn't glare in your face when you're going through tunnels or at night time. I'd say if you're looking for a middle size sport, I wouldn't call it a sport bike, what would you call it? Oh fuck it, let's call it, it's a mid-size sports bike or mid-size naked inline 4 that's smooth, sharp, easy to ride. It's never going to break down. Honda's come with a 6-year warranty and they're synonymous with build quality. That looks a bit sporty like a Fireblade. This definitely could be the bike for you. It's a really, really nicely put together bike, really smooth, absolutely typical Honda. I'm really impressed with it. And for under 9 grand on a 4-year PCP, 4,000 miles a year, I'm reliably told it's going to be about £130 a month, and that's not too bad at all, is it? Most of us pay more than that for our bloody internet Sky subscription, so you ain't going to have as much fun doing that as you would do on this, that's for sure.